Alright, so probably the last story, although there is a good Trump thing I want to cover. I don't know. But maybe the last story, maybe the second last story, depending how we go. Federal judge accuses Mueller's team of lying, trying to target Trump. Come on, man. Alright, we do have that video. We'll play that for you now.
The federal judge today in the Paul Manafort case saying of the special counsel's office, and he was saying, this is how you guys are behaving. We said what this investigation was about, but we're not bound by it, and we were lying. That's the federal judge saying that the special counsel was lying about their intention with their investigation. Those are very strong words coming from a judge, yes?
Yeah, they are. And I think it captures the sentiment of a lot of folks out there that, again, have seen this go from a discussion about how Russia tried to interfere and meddle into our election into, again, discussions to payments to a porn star. And what that has to do with the original mandate under which Bob Mueller was appointed. And I think it goes back to, again, the fact that there has to be leadership at the Department of Justice. Bob Mueller doesn't run the Department of Justice. He reports to the Deputy Attorney General, not the other way around.
So do you think that anything's going to happen to curb the investigation? I mean, I don't think it matters how much probably any judge admonishes Bob Mueller or what the public thinks or what the president says. It seems like he's focused on going down the road that he's on. The only recourse that you're talking about is who has the oversight over him to stop him if they wanted to, and would that really happen? What are your thoughts?
Well, again, I think the appropriate boundaries or bumpers were not placed on this investigation, and that's why it's gotten a bit far afield from what Bob Mueller was charged with doing. But I do think it does have to come to a conclusion sooner or later. The special counsel's asking to interview Donald Trump, and he'll make a decision in consultation with his lawyers about that. But that'll really dictate how long and whether or not this special counsel investigation can continue with respect to Donald Trump.
What do you think is the best strategy, as somebody who is close and familiar to the matter and, given your position and also being, Judiciary Committee member, what do you think is the best road to go down for the president at this point in terms of a strategy?
Well, I think it depends on if you're talking about a legal strategy or a political strategy. The president said that he'd love to sit down with Bob Mueller. I think what the president would really love to do is bring an expedited conclusion to an investigation that he thinks is tremendously unfair. His lawyers are probably appropriately counseling that he shouldn't sit down with Bob Mueller because innocent people assert the Fifth Amendment right all the time because the government has the burden of proof in a criminal case to an incredibly high standard, proving beyond a reasonable doubt, and that Bob Mueller likely can't prove any charges relating to collusion, which isn't a crime, or obstruction or anything else, and that Donald Trump shouldn't do anything to help Bob Mueller make a case that isn't there.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the calculation from a legal standpoint. But Donald Trump is probably making a political calculation as well. I think if he's considering re-election and what his political adversaries may say about him if he doesn't sit down with the special counsel is why I think he wants to have the opportunity to do that. And I think there's a path for at least having a discussion with the special counsel about the issue of Russian collusion.
Congressman Ratcliffe, thank you for your time.
You bet.
So yeah, guys, you see the video there. Look, this Mueller investigation, like they said in the video, it's gone from investigating possible foreign collusion by a foreign power to Russia having a troll farm which apparently has no links to the Kremlin. It's just a whole bunch of people shitposting on Facebook and whatnot, to investigating a porn star. Like, please just put the Mueller thing to bed, okay? It's done. Russia is over. The whole narrative has collapsed. Moving on. A federal judge on Friday harshly rebuffed Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team during a hearing for ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, suggesting they lied about the scope of the investigation they are seeking. Unfettered power and more interesting in bringing down the president. Is anybody surprised by this? Quote, you don't really care about Mr. Manafort, the US District Judge T.S. Ellis III told Mueller's team. Quote, you really care about what information Mr. Manafort can give you to lead to Mr. Trump and impeachment or whatever. Further, Ellis demanded to see the unredacted scope memo, the document outlining the scope of the special counsel's Russia probe that Congress Republicans have also sought. The hearing, when Manafort's team fought to dismiss a 18-count indictment on tax and bank fraud related charges, took a confessional turn as it was revealed that at least some of the information in the investigation derived from an earlier justice probe in the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Eastern District of Virginia. Manafort's attorney argued that special counsel does not have the power to indict him on the charges they have brought and seemed to find sympathetic ear with Ellis. The renegade-appointed judge asked Mueller's team what they got in authority to indict Mueller on alleged crimes dating back as far as 2005. The special counsel argues that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein granted them broad authority in his May 2007 letter appointing Mueller to the investigation. But after the revelation the team is using information from earlier DOJ probe, Ellis said that the information did not arise out of the special counsel probe and therefore may not be within the scope of the investigation. Quote, we do not want anyone with unfettered power, he said. Mueller's team said the authorities laid out in documents including the August 2017 scope memo, and some powers are actually secret because they involve ongoing investigations and national security matters. You're right. And could not publicly disclose. Why is it every time they have something they can't talk about, it's national security, we can't talk about this? Oh, really? Interesting, isn't it? You get questioned on something and all of a sudden you're clinging to national security. Ellis seemed amused but not persuaded. He summed up the argument of the special counsel's office as, we see this is what the investigation was about, but we're not bound by it and we were lying. He referenced the common exclamation from NFL announcer saying, come on, man. Trump himself drew attention to the judge's comments late Friday afternoon during the NRA convention in Texas. Quote, it's a witch hunt, he said. Quote, I love fighting these battles. The judge also gave the government 2 weeks to hand over the unredacted scope memo. Oh, that's interesting. Or provided an explanation why not, after prosecutors were reluctant to do so, claiming the material that doesn't pertain to Manafort. Quote, I'll be the judge of that, Ellis said. House Republicans have also sought a full document through the Justice Department, previously released a redacted version which includes information relating to Manafort but not much else. The charges in federal court in Virginia were on top of another round of charges in October. Manafort has pled not guilty to both rounds. The charges filed earlier this year include conspiracy against the United States, conspiracy to money launder, failing to register as an agent of a foreign principal, and providing false statements. Earlier this year, Ellis suggested that Manafort could face life in prison and possess a substantial flight risk because of his financial means and international connections to flee and remain at large. Now, Ellis is the judge, so yeah, I sort of agree with that. All right, I find this interesting. I find the fact that they've got 2 weeks to hand over the memo, or a very good reason why they don't hand it over. I think they will go with the later rather than former. I don't think the judge will actually see this memo originally. They'll fight tooth and nail to stop him from seeing it. But yeah, it's like the other released memo that we had. But yeah, I don't know. This whole Russia probe is a joke. It's not a Russia probe anymore. It's a probe into Donald Trump's sex life with a porn star. I suppose, if If you're that much of a threat that they've got to go through and pry into your sex life to try and find some dirt, I don't know, guys. Like, what do you reckon about this Mueller probe? Do you reckon it should be shut down? Do you think it should be left open? Do you think that Mueller is on target, or do you think he is so far off target that instead of bombing Berlin, he's over America right about now? No pun intended. But guys, let me know your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.